To order. Roll call.
Holt,
Here.
Peters,
Here.
Lutz,
Here.
Lucero,
Here.
Campbell, here.
Little bit of fun.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight we have approved the agenda unless there's any additions or changes. Nothing? Actually, make motions over the agenda. Second. Okay. Somebody do that now, or do you want me to wait? We did do a motion in a second, so we should probably finish that. So, okay. Motion, to approve and second, all in favor? Okay, motion carries. Just a quick reminder, I did say it right before the meeting started. According to the policy that we approved in January, BDDH for public participation at board meetings, it said that we needed to provide a form, so the public forum form is always going to be on the back table. If you want to speak during a public forum, you just need to fill it out and submit it. You can either do it the night of, right before the meeting starts, or you can find it online now too, and you can submit it prior to the meeting if you want to. This just helps us keep track of it, and then it follows the policy. So that is available, just kind of, we're going to try to remind people the next couple meetings till we get used to it.
And if you are hearing it for the first time right now and you want to speak, you can grab it and then just quietly pass it to Mary.
Yep.
At kind of in the beginning of the meeting.
Yep. Okay, and then we are on waiver authorization. Do we have anything on that one? Okay. Nothing. Minutes, we need to approve those from January 14th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from January 14th, 25.
I'll second that motion. Okay, motion to approve and second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We are on expenditures. I would entertain a motion unless there's anything that needs to be pulled out. A through C.
I make a motion to approve expenditures A through C. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next item is financial statements. And we would entertain a motion for A through K unless there's something you want to pull up. Motion to approve the financial statements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Patrons and others, we have the, if you want to go through the school board. Anything school board recognition, what are we doing?
But, okay, so we got a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot. And thank you, Mary, for taking care of some things. So are these the.
Yes. Oh, no, you have the certificates. Those are from the.
Oh, these from the high school student council. Okay, so. Gift from the high school student council. All right.
Mr. Lee.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. We overview.
See if you all got the same thing.
That's okay. I like this too.
Yeah.
Thank you, high school council.
And then we've got these certificates, and it's kind of a little statement from the associate school boards. It was kind of funny. Mary's like, well, you have them. I'm like, I brought them up to you today. You said, yes, and I brought them back to you. So I did have them. So anyway. All right. So Lead-Deadwood School District will join districts across the state to thank school board members for their leadership and service to our local school district and community during South Dakota School Board Recognition Week from February 17th to 21st. This is a great opportunity to recognize our school board for their dedication to our children and our community. This group is responsible for setting the vision and of the goals for the district and strives to provide a quality education for our students. The school board also hires quality educators, adopts policies, and evaluates progress while always keeping the best interest of our students in mind. As elected leaders, school board members serve as the link between the school and community members. They work tirelessly for our students, staff, and community, and we appreciate everything they do. We appreciate most things. No, I'm kidding. So I think though it is, it is really a thankless job that these guys have, and I don't know I don't know why sometimes they run for school board, but, it's a lot of heartache and, you know, they have to make tough decisions. And what I really appreciate is that we don't always agree on things. These 5 people are not always unanimous on things, but they always come back to that goal of, helping us to have the best school we can have. And that means different things to different people. So they're balancing all of those different constituency groups. But in the end, they're always driven by doing what's best for these people right here in the front row, for our students. And so I really appreciate that through it all, they find a way to come together and, I guess, set policies and oversee the business of the school district, for our kids. So thank you for that. And while I'm passing these out, I'll just let you know, Mary picked up a cake for tonight. So at the end of the meeting, we can all have cake, buttercream frosting, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of the kind.
Very nice.
Does anybody ever actually pick the other kind of frosting? I'm just a buttercream guy, like, I don't know. Maybe we should do a poll, but,
Cheese frosting.
so thank you all.
Yes. Okay.
I think, we've got some other student councils here, so, let's just go on down the line. Middle school, what do you guys have to do instead?
Positive environment in which we find ourselves on a daily basis allows us to thrive and is a direct result of your thoughtful decision making and tireless efforts from providing quality resources to ensure a safe and responsible atmosphere for everyone. You continuously demonstrate the importance of education and the value of creating a space where growth and learning are prioritized. We are grateful for the time and energy you invest in fostering an environment that supports both academic achievements and student development. Your leadership and often thankless efforts do not go unnoticed, and it is clear that each of you is deeply committed to improving the lives of our students and educators. Thank you again for all you do, for the hard work that truly makes a difference, and we're fortunate to have such a dedicated individual overseeing the future of our school.
Thank you. Good evening.
You guys all collaborate on that?
One of our teachers wrote it, but she had to edit it.
Well, it was very good and you did a very good job delivering. Elementary.
We have a few of our elementary representatives here. And on behalf of the Elementary Student Council, we thank you as well. And we have a small token of our appreciation. Want to introduce yourselves real quick?
Hi, I'm Madeline, and I'm treasurer.
I'm Josie Dawson, fourth grade classroom representative. I'm Easton, and I'm the president.
Thank you.
Your thing.
Thank you.
That's pretty.
Thank you. And thank you guys for coming to the meeting. Yes, thank you guys. Good to see everybody. You have anything else? If not, you guys can sure hang out if you want, but if you don't, it's okay too. We understand. All right. Good job. I can tell that, like. We don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's fine. So we are, what, a week late, but last week was National School Counseling Week. And we do have one, two, there's Rhonda, I didn't see her back there. Hiding, she's hiding. We have two counselors here, and if you guys are okay with it, you can just maybe stand up and give us a quick synopsis of anything that you want to share. If not, but thank you guys for doing what you do.
Okay, you want a quick, okay then. And Sarah used to come with like a little note card and Amanda wouldn't have anything and then I'd have like.
Just go for it.
So anyway, I was going to summarize her. No, I'm honestly honored to be a school counselor and I've been here for 9 years, 24 years as a school counselor. In the high school, things change over time, but yet they stay the same. The goal is always trying to help the students. Much of the time, they're just here for 4 years and it seems like it goes by so fast, and to give them everything they need as they launch off into young adulthood. So there's so many things going on with all the various tests that they take. And sometimes they wonder why they have to take all these things, but they're all, we're trying to help them become successful wherever they go after high school, whether it's work, military, tech school, college, university. A few little facts here. This year's class, seniors, very excellent group. We had more getting a platinum on the national career readiness test of this class, and they did probably better on Smarter Balance last spring. About 22 of them out of 50 have taken or are taking dual credit. So that's a pretty good number for that, taking college or tech courses in advance of attending. And then we have about 14 juniors doing that this year. Other than that, I think a couple of things that I'm doing a little different this year. I took on the youth empowerment team that Sarah DeBeaumont had, so I had 6 students in that. And that's through the Lawrence County Coalition. And today we attended a luncheon the speaker was on the science of chemical dependence. Lexi was there. And the students really enjoyed it a lot. They got a lot out of it because it's just different, and learning more about something from a professional. It was well delivered and they really got enjoyed that. And they're going to be doing some things at the elementary with the PD students, and they've done some things with middle school health for like talking about alcohol and vaping and some of those things. So that's kind of they're against those things. So they're trying to spread the word to the younger students. And then we'll be taking the juniors to a career day on Thursday in Sturgis this week. So that's something that they should get some good information from that. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.
My name is Yolanda Price. I'm the middle school counselor this year, and I just kind of have a bulleted point thing. I want to thank all of you guys first too, because I know you guys have hard conversations, and so that's important for our district as well. And we have hard conversations in our office with students every day, so we know what it's like. So things that we've done at the middle school, we did Red Ribbon Week challenges. So we did some door decorating and some dress up day competitions, which was the winner was sponsored, had a pizza party that was sponsored by the Lawrence County Coalition. In November, we had Kindness Week where we did some dress up days. We've started a grief group. We've met 2 times. It's kind of an open forum. So if you want to come, you come. If you want to share, you share. If you don't want to share, you don't have to share. There's no pressure. It's just a way for kids to know that there's other people that have had some grief in their life. So we've started that. We started Hope Squad, which is a peer-to-peer assistance program to talk about big issues that primarily focuses on suicide prevention. And so there's a nomination process. Every grade level nominated students. We had to get some parent permission, and we have 13 students that are a go. We had our first meeting last week, and it was all focused on team building. Last week for National School Counselor Week, the intern that we have, him and I made some car scratch off cards that had challenges and some counseling trivia on it, and we had about 60 kids participating in that. They could take 1 card per day, and so they were challenged to do some type of act of kindness or answer the trivia, and then there were some prizes. I'm currently working on the middle school master schedule. Some things that are in the works. We're going to do potentially top of the hour topics during parent teacher conferences, some quick 10 to 15 minute things on sleep and hygiene and the importance of staying away from certain social medias. Or with our intern, we're working on something for World of Work Week. We're gonna do some type of game of life for our middle schoolers. And then with Hope Squad, we have to do like a Hope Week homecoming type of thing, so the kids will brainstorm that, so that's coming. That's about it. So far. I don't have anything on it, sorry. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Well, thank you guys very much and thanks for all you do. I know it's fun. Okay. Business, we were gonna have an update on the middle school project.
Yeah, so, and I think Jamie, were you able to, did you activate Michelle's microphone? I don't know if she'll need to speak or not, but, we've asked Michelle to kind of sit in on this, and what we'll do is we'll kind of bounce around between, Bill and I and Jay, and, kind of give you the information we have thus far on the middle school project. And I'll kind of get the ball rolling here and then we'll go into it and Michelle is just kind of here if there are any questions that the rest of us can't answer. But to start with, where we're at in the process is this. Our ultimate goal is to put things out for bid in May. And so working backwards from that, we'd like to have the board be able to approve kind of the basic design. Now, obviously, these are not buildable plans, but the concept, and we're starting with that tonight because we'd like to have the board be able to approve that in the March meeting. So you don't have to approve anything tonight, don't have to make any decisions, but we want to give you an update on kind of the process we've gone through. And I'll give Jay a little heads up here as I talk a little more and he can kind of collect his thoughts, but Jay is going to talk to you about the process we've had from user groups, input groups, and the different meetings we've gone through to get some input on this. And then we'll kind of go through the design, and Bill's going to have some things that he's going to present as well. So that's kind of what we're looking at. One of the key things is in the next week to 10 days, I believe we'll have some cost estimates coming from the architecture firm. And right now, we've just got kind of a big budget that we've looked at, like, we've talked about that $1.9 to $2 million range and what we're gonna get for that. Well, now, they're in the process of kind of drilling down and getting, like, based on the things we've talked about, the specific square footages, the specific things we want, getting some realistic cost estimates to see if we're on track or not. And that's gonna tell us a lot about changes we might need to make or things we would need to get to you guys well ahead of that March meeting. And what we're anticipating is that the cost estimates will be on track with what we've estimated thus far. But before I turn it over to Jay on the user groups, just real quick, I'll kind of reemphasize what our goals here are with this thing for anybody that is new to this. One of the huge problems we have is before and after school, behind this building, between the middle school and the high school, there's a lot of congestion. And especially something that we find particularly vexing is cars lined up with parents picking up kids, dropping off kids. And it really gets interesting when we get a few snow piles in there. But you get a line of, I don't know how many cars, like sometimes 8, 10, 12 cars lined up back there. And you all know we don't have a lot of extra space there. And they come in through CC Curran, come around there. Well, then sometimes they're in the wrong place. Kids are waiting to get on the buses, so the parents start filing in, and then the buses are coming in about the same time. And you got kids coming and going with that traffic right there. And it just really is a mess. And we haven't had any major accidents yet, but I don't know why. So we've kind of talked about making a safer environment there by separating the bus traffic from the car traffic, have the car traffic pick up and drop off somewhere entirely different. The other thing is looking at this building, anybody, any human who has approached this building from the city of Lead would think that the front entrance would be on Main. You wouldn't think the main entrance would be drive around behind the high school and go to the back side. It's just not very convenient, not very accessible. Along with that, The office area where Eva works is congested mess, especially before and after school. You get more than 3 people in there and it's just not very functional. And so we're hoping to kind of clean that up in this whole thing. And then along with that, a more functional office, clean up the traffic flow, a more accessible front entrance, also looking at some safety concerns, clear line of sight as people approach the building, better access control. And then along with that, implementing a space there for middle school CTE and STEM. And having a little CTE STEM lab there as well in some of those spaces. So kind of a lot going on there for that $2 million. And with that, Jay, why don't you talk about the process we've gone through to get input from staff and from the people that are actually going to use this. Not just Jay and I didn't sit down with a piece of notebook paper and draw this out. We have a process.
No, we have a lot of people with a lot of really good ideas, and we really found that out. So currently, I think we've met at least 3 times with the architects. One in a admin group, which is we're talking about the admin area, that being the office area with the nurse's office and the conference room and the teacher's workroom there. The other one being the CTE classroom, that group, which consists of Dr. Pearson and Bill, and we've had some of the high school shop teachers input on that too also. And then the leadership group, which we kind of talk about the bigger picture of everything. And then we've gone through and actually had conversations about the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, all those things are kind of starting to happen now too. So we've met at least 3 times with the architects in Zoom meetings, and we're kind of lucky we had one of the architects was able to come out, I think it was last week or the week before. I think it was last week, and kind of get her eyes on it, you know, not from a Zoom meeting. So I thought that was really good. We took her around for a tour and she could see everything that we'd already talked about. So, you know, like the admin area group, you know, I designated a teacher from each grade level on that so that they would have input during those meetings, and then Eva and Yolanda. And I think that was really imperative that we got their ideas for people that are in those areas and the people that use those areas. I think it was really important to get their input about where things should be, because like Dr. Pearson said, we could sit down and draw something up, but it wouldn't make sense possibly to the people that are actually going to be in those areas. And I do have a secretary that is very conscientious about her space and the space that she's needed. And I was really happy that she spoke up. And sometimes, yeah, I think, you know, that created some a little bit of not issues, but I think, you know, it's really important for people to express what they need and to make sure that those things are getting across to the architect. So anyway, that was really important to have those people, that input. And I think that's one of the biggest positives about the user groups that we have so far, is making sure that we're having those people and their input. And then with the inclusion of a few board members now in those Zoom meetings too, I think it's really helped the process and moving it along quite quickly. And I think we have a really good you know, group of people, and I think we have a pretty good plan of where things should be and and what I was really worried about is, you know, if you're looking at this map right here, you know, you don't really have an idea of how big things are. But when we started measuring current furniture that we have and see if it would fit in these rooms and stuff, that really helped out, that we can move a lot of the current stuff that we have in these areas. So I was told that I'm not getting a new desk, which is okay. We're gonna there.
That might have been a little tongue in cheek. Okay.
No, I'm just making a joke. Whatever happens there is fine. But the biggest thing was, you know, we have a brand new conference room table. We want to make sure that was usable. I mean, in that area. Anyway, that wasn't the biggest thing in the world, but I think we're utilizing the space really efficiently. I'm really excited about the input that came from Bill and Dr. Pearson about what we really want to have in that CTE space. And I'm really super excited about for our students in the future to have that kind of a space, that kind of a facility, and at their fingertips. So anything else, Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, and I can get up and do it too, but would you want to maybe approach the board, right? Not this board, that board.
Sure.
And maybe point to some of those things in that office area.
Sure.
And then,
Yeah. So, what's really nice, we've kind of, our current, like Dr. Pierce said, our current office area, we put the Nurse Percy in there, and it's space is not adequate. But anyway, so this is the nurse area. And we've actually put in a spot for a shower and a washer and dryer, those kind of things that we can help our students with. The principal's office will be right here, and I'm glad it's one of the smallest areas, so we don't have to worry about how big that is. Of course, a good sized staff restroom that will be accessible for all our staff. The conference room, and then a kind of a workroom for Eva and myself and all the people that are in the office area here. This space it has become really something that we need to focus on, because one of the reasons why we're doing this is because the poor layout right now of our middle school office area, like Dr. Pearson talked about. So making this area as efficient as possible. And then the area where people come in. So this will be the main entrance off the street here. And so people will come in here and then be able to come through this area here, and then be able to, our secretary will be able to let people come in through this area if they need anything in the office area. One thing that I was really adamant about that we didn't want to lose is an area for our staff to do their planning, their copying, and anything that they need to do for their classrooms. So a staff workroom and their break room would be here. And so this is all the old library area. These are some current classrooms that we have. So we are going to lose a classroom and a part of another classroom, but this will be functional. And we're thinking this area here is going to be okay for a special education classroom. They're not used all the time, and they don't have as many students in them. So this is going to be work out well for them. And then these are all the other areas that we're really not going to touch. But and then
Which one do you want? That one?
oh yeah, the CTE classroom. So you can kind of see where my current office is right here. And then this is gonna be kind of a bigger classroom where the current workroom, teacher workroom is in this area. An office area for that teacher that we have there. And it just looks, we have all of our shop area here with all of our machinery, like miter saws and table saws and all these kind of things over here. So, and this would be the current office area right here. So we would do away with that entrance right there. We have the outside entrance here, and then we keep this door here. But that main entrance would be blocked off, I think, is what we talked about before. So it's really come along, and I really think we're utilizing the space really efficiently. And things are probably, they look from the design, I can't take myself and put them in there right now with all the walls in there. It's really hard for me to insert myself into space that really isn't there yet. But I think it's going to be a really nice area for our students Bill?
Can you hit on that library a little bit, what we're planning on to do there?
Yeah, so the library, this is the current area that's right behind the multi-purpose room. And this is this is the storage.
That's where you have all them file cabinets.
Okay, this is, yeah, so this is my dead file room for all the students that have left our special education program right now. So we'll repurpose this area, and the area right behind the multi-purpose room will be the new library. With some updates, we've talked about just not scrambling things in there, moving things in there. There needs to be some some new paint and some probably, ceiling and things like that. But anyway, that's going to be, and square footage wise, Bill, what did you?
So square footage wise, we end up being about 180 square feet difference, this being smaller. But we included this room here, and this is a storeroom where they have some old PE equipment. Using this room here as a, maybe like a study area. There'll be a few steps down into it so that you can get into it, maybe put a little bit of glazing around there so that whoever's running this can look down in there and see the students down in there.
And right now we have like the sliding wall.
Yep.
That we used to put the band or the DJ up here for dances and things. But I think this is probably going to become a permanent wall.
They've talked about that both ways, so
Yeah.
that's not quite set yet, so.
Could be a permanent wall, but anyway, but we feel comfortable with that area being big enough for our library. So we don't want to downsize that or make it smaller, if possible. So it's pretty close square footage wise, and we feel we can utilize that space for a library. So.
What questions do you guys have about like the process or where it's at for now or that kind of thing? And we do have some comments about the canopy, but do you have any questions on any of this yet?
No, I mean, I think that I had mentioned to you that I like the idea of utilizing that space for the library. That was kind of what my big concern was, is what are we gonna do with that?
Sure.
But I do think that that's gonna be a good use of space. My only question, and going back to the CTE section of the class, of the building. Sorry, someone's phone's going. Looking at the aerial picture of the school, it looks like a different footprint than what is up there. Almost like it's built out a little bit, because when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, I can see where Eva's desk would be, where yours is now, where the current conference room is. But that is a different footprint than what we have in our packet.
I guess I'm not sure what's in the packet, but this does match.
This is the
It didn't get pretty crowded here, so like. So like, where this door is right here, Jay Beagle's desk is right here,
right.
and there's a window here.
Okay.
And so like, this is where where the mailboxes are, correct?
Yep.
Nurse Percy is like kind of right here. Eva's right here, and we got the tunnel of doom
Yeah.
right there. Conference room is kind of right here.
Yeah, this,
Yeah,
like, it goes
I don't know if I helped or hindered understanding there,
So
but
this is that corner,
right.
comes up, over, up. This is the whole building. Don't look at this red line. This is the building.
Okay.
It
So
comes here,
that's-
comes down, and then goes over.
And that's what I was confused about.
Yeah, there's a
because it
building
says-
underneath there.
Okay.
It's just the red line.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of, because I'm like, okay, looking at that, I can visualize it with what that current space is, but then I'm looking at this and going, that's
Sure.
not right.
Sure.
Okay,
So it squares it up.
and then my only other issue, would be with Eva's office. And that's probably just gonna be more a matter of where you put your furniture. So you and I can talk about that a different. time.
Yeah, and she has some definite ideas of how she wants her furniture set up.
I mean, I think that if
So,
this project is to help increase visibility, then
Yeah.
let's make sure that our back's not.
yeah, and I think
That's-
I think we've talked about that, her positioning in there to be able to scoot around and make sure she sees what she needs to see. Yeah, and, you know, and she's had some, we're gonna talk about, you know, and she's had some conversations with Dr. Pearson about, gosh, I really don't want this big window there, and, you know, but, you know, I think we have to have visibility, you know, but we still have to have safety, and there has to be some give and take both ways, and something that we can come up with that makes sense for both.
So we're gonna price that with, I don't wanna say bulletproof glass, because there really isn't a bulletproof glass, but there's, you know, they make a thick glass that will like stop most bullets.
Price it both ways, price it with some of that safety glass that we took a look at here the other day.
And then we're gonna price it too with just the film that we put like in the elementary, at the elementary office, that, you know, wouldn't stop a bullet, but it would keep the window intact if somebody shoots through it, so you're really gonna slow somebody down trying to come in that way. And Amber made a comment when that first came up. She kind of leaned over and said, that looks similar to the layout of the high school office. And yes, it really is, with the addition though, and I don't really like this, coming in that high school office, they come in that hallway. And you can't really see, there's not a clear line of sight there, there's cameras. So the difference here, a couple things, that vestibule is gonna be wider there, okay? And then there's also glass.
Well, it'll be similar to like when you walk into the elementary school, there's the vestibule and then they can see you walking out.
Yes.
I mean, more like that is what you're thinking on
Yep.
that, where the windows are.
And I think in talking to our elementary secretaries, there was maybe some disconnect there in the design process. They felt like maybe some of their recommendations weren't heard at that time. And, you know, so there are some things, well, I don't want to say disgruntlement, but some things that like we're going to work to try and make better for them now. And so having that conversation with them really kind of rang a bell, like, okay, let's make sure that we have our people involved in some of these design discussions. And
Very important.
Using it every day.
Well, it's very important
Yeah.
for Eva to be the one that knows how she wants her desk and where it is, and that's a huge thing when you have someone working in that.
And I
space.
think we're getting there, don't you think, Jay?
I do, yeah.
I
think we're
agree.
getting-
Just my main thing is the way, I mean, if we're getting down to the point of how a desk is positioned, right now you've got her desk so that she's positioned with her back to the windows, which is completely pointless for what you're trying to do, especially since there's a big difference.
I think we're kind of losing sight of, we're not here to tell people where to put their desk.
No, I understand, but I'm
So
just
we
saying
need
that
to
if
make
we're
sure
looking
that-
at trying to figure out where we're gonna put doors and things like that, so that we can move further in the process, we need to think about that type of thing. Because there's a big difference between our high school, where you don't have too many people walking across the sidewalk right behind Lori, versus the number of people that are gonna come up that sidewalk right there to come into the building.
And I agree with you. We've had some talks with Eva about that, and I think that desk can be positioned
Without
another
it.
way. And I think too, some of that is, as we talked about it and you know, it's kind of amazing when we're in a meeting, we'll say, like, they can flip a cabinet or a desk on that drawing pretty quick. And it's just,
Yeah, I was just thinking more in terms of like, okay, if we're looking at, if we do potentially need to consider moving a door, you know, in order to make this safer. That was ultimately what my thought was.
And what was really kind of neat too, with the way that they can manipulate things when we were talking about it, is like, you know, for example, in this workroom, Eva was talking about what kind of cabinets she needed, and it was just like, they could change that, the look of them, and, you know, if it's four file drawers, or if it's one big one, or whatever, you know, what's most efficient for what we need. And then again, in the staff workroom too, the teachers had a lot of input on what would be the best for their needs and their uses, so.
and
But-
Bill had a really good idea there, you know, to save a little cost. They've vented that staff bathroom right directly into the principal's office.
Right. We're gonna have a big window here.
You are sandwiched between two bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's right, too much.
Flop the conference room.
I just thought we needed some levity today, there you go.
All right, well-
Background noise.
So you're thinking that, I mean, I don't think you're gonna see a lot of changes with like the building layout now, right? I mean, you're kind of set on.
It's kind of set where it's, at. I mean, we've got that footprint to work with, so I mean,
Okay, right.
you're not gonna move any of the outside walls or
Yeah,
anything, so.
yeah.
This was the only point of contention is how much do we, because once we lose it, right? But I think we're comfortable with the size of that and being able to still make good use of
Keeping it
that.
as
Yeah,
usable.
so, yeah.
If you did.
And I think you guys are in on a meeting, scheduled to be in on a meeting next week about the
I
canopy.
think that's Thursday, right? I think it's this week.
This week. Oh, okay. Right. You guys got in that email, okay. And so that was one of the things I think I had to go teach class or something, so I missed the tail end of that meeting. I think there was a lot of discussion about that canopy. And that's one of the things I really don't care about, but I think it's a very, important thing, because that's gonna be seen by the public. So I think it's important to have, like, our board representatives weigh in on that and get the right look and something that's gonna be functional to identify that main entrance, so should get that drilled down this week, I
Yep.
think.
And I think it was just the looks, and then my concern was making it as easy as possible for, snow removal and
Yeah, and it's
whatever
not,
you gotta deal with right
it's
there.
not gonna be as big as what you seen the other day.
Okay.
They're gonna
Just
bring
like
some of
was
that
a
up.
lot of extra.
Yeah, they can't take that between those two pillars there, so.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah, the canopy's over the front door. the
Yeah,
bottom
we can't-
one. So
They
it's-
talked about originally taking the canopy from this post here to this one here. And I think they're only gonna end up taking it to here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just basically like an awning that says Lead-Deadwood Middle School or whatever the.
Yeah, just something that, this is the entrance.
And I really liked, like the look of it, that it was angled so that people could, see it from down the street, that's where I'm going.
Well, and the last question I had, she just walked in the door for it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sit down, and then we can get to.
Okay, so pretty much what we haven't seen yet is the numbers, and we'll have those before the March meeting. I think the
And
question,
that could change some of this.
okay,
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
if, yeah.
All right, my last question, promise. With the nurse's office, is there a reason for having that door open out into the main building? Or just the fact that it's Jay's office and we don't feel like hitting him with a door? I mean, if you look,
This door here.
that goes out into the hallway.
Yep.
For the main building, as opposed to if you've got a kid that's sick, more than likely, I should think that they're gonna end up in the office.
Yeah.
And then be brought back to you.
So when the door is open, kids will come straight to me.
Okay,
When it's closed, I'll have a sign out there that says, please go see Miss Eva.
Okay.
We talked about that, but just the way, cause we thought that maybe Eva would want them to be able to lay down and stuff, but she doesn't want them out of her line of sight, so. We decided that this was the best option, so it's, office will really only be in use when I am in the building.
okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
anything else you guys want to add? If not, I think that kind of answered a lot of the questions that we kind of heard last time, with like where things were gonna be and what was gonna happen and then, so I think the intention is just at the March or sometime between now and the March meeting, we'll have costs to go with it and then to be, possibly prepared to say yay or nay at the next meeting, once we know kind of where those costs come in. Is that fair? Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
New business, we are on contract resignations and retirement. There was a list in the packet. We want to read those, Dr. Person?
Sure can. Okay, so certified substitutes at $135 a day, Julie Cudmore and Amanda Schreier. And then at $115 a day, Riley Andrews. Classified substitutes, Randy Hanson for snow removal, Julie Cudmore, paraprofessional, Bryce Mitchell, food service, Sherry Strand, food service. Resignations, retirements, this is kind of a long one here. Elementary food service, Katie Jenkins, Winifred Harris, elementary food service, Tanya Kramer, elementary food service. And then 4 retirements. And yeah, it's just amazing the longevity of these people and the dedication that they've given to the district. Actually, it's 3 retirements here because we had 1 last month. Christina Johnson, elementary sped instructor. I'm gonna put somebody on the spot. How many years there?
I don't know. Yeah. So let's,
25 to 30?
I would say around 30.
Yeah, she started.
Alicia Stagner, I know that one, that's 40 years. Lisa Ranapaw. Yeah, that's impressive. And then Amy Rogers, and the reason for the resignation, she's just changing positions, going to a 9-month position. So she's resigning the 12-month position. And so she's really not changing her job duties, just different like that. Okay, and then classified work agreement, Amy Rogers, 9-month technology assistant.
So, okay, she'll still be in the elementary school then. Okay. So we would need a motion to approve those contracts, resignations, and retirements.
I'll make a motion to approve the contracts, resignations, and retirements.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So the next item is the administrative contracts. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead and read through those. Eric Pearson, superintendent, Margie Ranapaw, business manager, Dan Van Bibber, elementary principal, Jay Beagle, middle school principal, sped director, Mark Jacobs, high school principal, Zach Clement, 612 assistant principal and activities director, Darcy Percy, district nurse, Jamie Hone, network director, Bill Snow, maintenance transportation supervisor, and Elizabeth Frith, food service director.
Make a motion to offer administrator contracts.
One second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. We are on to some surplus weight room equipment.
Okay, that should be in the packet, yep, and that's, I think the board members got that also last week. So if you had any questions or concerns with that, I'll give you a little time there. Thanks, Jamie. So rather than read through all that, it's just stuff that, our activities director has determined isn't really fitting with our, athletic strength and conditioning program. And so it's stuff that, has served us for a number of years, but some decent equipment, kind of the more of the machine, like the cable machines, those kind of things. Not talking about any treadmills or anything, but there are 3 places those things are going. There's 1 piece of equipment that's going to the Hanley Center. There's a few pieces that are going to Lawrence County Sheriff's Department, and then there are a few pieces going to Deadwood PD. And there was a little question, and we did some research. Margie made some calls, and because the Hanley Center wasn't a government entity, but we found we were directed to statute where it's permissible to donate it to a nonprofit for the community good. We felt like, but I want to be transparent with you guys. If you guys disagree, speak up. But we felt like the Hanley Center definitely fits. But anyway, my recommendation is that we surplus this stuff at no cost to those entities.
We need a action to surplus the items to those entities at no cost.
Make a motion to surplus the weight room equipment to the Hanley Center, DPD, and LCSO at no cost.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next one is an update on, so we've been dealing with the school land property across the road here. And we would like to have approval to have the superintendent initiate the process to get the remaining portion of the land annexed inside the city limits of Lead, because right now it's partially in and partially in the county. So that's kind of the first step to move forward, is to get that all inside city limits.
I think, Robin, is there like a application that we have to fill out to put it before the city council? Could you please, sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but could you kind of run through the process for us,
I
please?
think I'm just gonna suggest that Robin should probably recuse herself from voting on this item.
Okay,
She will probably have a direct, don't you think?
Well, I'll handle it at the city and lead side.
Yeah, so you probably should vote on it here and just.
Right, but informationally, could she
Information,
just
yeah, I think information.
tell us what the
we just
process
need
is?
that in mind.
So the school district will just need to fill out a petition and then submit that to the city of Lead. And that will start the annexation process, and then we'll run that through the city board, and we have publication and things like that that we need, so it gets annexed. Really the only change, will be, it's a tax exempt parcel, so it's not taking away county tax or adding city tax, so there's no monetary value for any of it, so it's just kind of like Dr. Pearson said, the first step, because part of it's in the city of Lead and part of it's in the county, so if we can get it all in the city, then it's for plating and all that type of stuff. So. Amber, can I forget anything?
I don't think so. That's pretty much the same process, yeah. We just have to do a petition just like any other landowner. So we have to go, and then the city council will have to either approve it or say yay or nay, and then we'll go from there. So we need a motion, Mary, how do you want to do that do you want it to have her recuse herself? Do you just put it in there? Okay. Yeah, so then we just need the action item, which would be to approve the superintendent to initiate that process.
Motion to approve the superintendent to initiate that process.
I'll second.
So all in favor?
Aye.
And then,
I abstain.
there you go. All right, so the next item is the facility use for Mountaintop Field coming up.
And I would also ask Robin to address that, but probably be the same situation she would go on with her.
Yeah, well, and I had
You and
Dennis,
Dennis.
yeah, so he can give us that.
Go for it, Dennis.
And I
You
can chime in.
explain.
Thanks for having me here. In case you don't know, we'll go through a little history. 2026, Lee's gonna be celebrating their 150th birthday, and there's gonna be like a all class reunion is gonna be celebrated at the same time. This is gonna be on the 3rd, the 4th, and 5th of July. Gonna be quite the party, I guess. And we're gonna have, we've talked to Bill Snow about this already. We're looking at having a concert at the football field. It was done once before, like 20, 30 years ago, or whenever. I can't remember, Bill. It's been that while now, but it's gonna be a pretty good sizable concert. We're asking to be able to use the football field for that concert. We estimate probably, we're hoping between 3,000 or 5,000 people at this concert. And we would set a big stage up. The stage is, we've talked about that. It's gonna be a pretty good sized stage because it's gonna be a pretty good sized band. It'd be on the, I'm gonna say probably the southwest side of it, facing the back. The stage will be facing Terry Peak. We're gonna be, have vendors up there. It'll be pretty much all day on the 3rd, and probably maybe even on the 2nd, because they might be setting up that stage that day. So we're asking for permission to, before we sign this ban, which probably have one lined up already, but we haven't signed it. We need to make sure that the school board and everybody's on board to let us use that field.
The only concern I have, and it's something that just, I think this level of communication would probably take care of it. Just you know, like with the new track there, I'm not so concerned with people walking on it. But just like when they go to set up the stage, hauling equipment across there. I think, like I say, just mention it to you now, we'll put a mental note to you guys that just to tell the guys to be careful. That's my only concern. I think that would be it.
Yeah.
And we had that conversation when we were up there, so they're aware of the new track.
What about chairs and stuff? People always want to bring chairs to events like that. Are you gonna allow those to be on the track? Because if it's a metal,
I would say not a chair on the track,
Okay,
but they're
I just-
all right, it'd be all right on the field.
yeah, on the field, we find, it's just some of those things as you're setting stuff up, because I know that's, you know, you just don't want somebody sitting in that track and then having a big old divot.
Yeah, we can flag that off, whatever we gotta do to make that happen. And we've already discussed how we're gonna try to get that stage in there and stuff across that track. Understandable, we don't wanna damage that, and we'll be every precaution to make sure that doesn't happen.
And if you guys work with Bill on that, I'm pretty confident you can get it done.
Yeah. We're hoping for a big deal. So, and that's the only place we can have it, and we'll probably be coming back to you for even a little bit more help when we decide how we're gonna handle this and how we're doing it. We're just at we got lots of plans, but we gotta make it happen. But how to get people up there and how to get people out of there, if we have that big of a crowd. We're at that whole weekend, we're thinking probably between 5,000 to 10,000 people in town for a couple days, so we'll have a pretty big outfit going on.
With the facility use, I mean, I've filled out the form a couple times, but do we need to have something different if there were damage to that track? How would we take care of that? Or is that in that?
That's in that agreement.
Okay, I just want
And this is usually something that we don't take to the board when we have any of
Right,
these.
usually.
But with the size of this scope of this project, I just kind of recommended that this would be a good idea to.
I don't see any issue. I mean, we don't have school and I mean, it makes it a little easier, but just as long as the school is protected, if there were damage. You know,
Actually, when we had the all-school reunion, Chris Roberts, the all-school reunion had to get their own insurance.
well, that's what I'm wondering, is that how this will be? I'm assuming that's how this will be too. You would have an insurance of some sort for that type of stuff.
You know, cities probably insurance stuff would probably, I would assume cover that.
Okay,
And it's also gonna be a joint event with the chamber, and they also have liability insurance.
Okay.
They have the stuff down at the park and all that kind of stuff.
okay. So this will just be on that coverage. It'll just say that it covers this building or structure.
Yeah, the chamber lists the city as an additionally insured, and then it's also gonna be under the city.
And are they having bathrooms and all of that stuff up there then that whole time? I'm assuming.
They're gonna have to install some porta potties and stuff there for that amount of people. There's no way to,
That's what, how about the concession stand area?
I would guess they're gonna use all that.
Okay,
Yep, I think we counted, we kind of figured out probably maybe 15 to 20 concessions and 30 or 40 porta potties and.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was good. Yeah, hopefully the weather hangs out, you know how the 4th of July. That's what scares us the most. We sign someone, it costs us a lot of money to get this band in here. And all of a sudden we got lightning and thunder and we just stand there crying. So,
Are you looking at hiring security as well?
yeah, we'll probably have to go. If you go to someone like Foreigner or someone like that, they require you have professional security. If we go with someone like we're thinking now, it could be just our local security. But there's a place I'll go who shall provide that.
Fritz, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think we're at the point right now where we are going to need to book a band, and so we just need to secure the venue. And then once we get more planning and we figure out like the layout and more details, if we're gonna need buses for transportation, we're gonna sell beer, all that kind of stuff, and we can come back and
yeah.
give an update on what the.
Could be kind of like Robin came up with the one, it's like the Woodstock of Lead. Well, if it rains and stuff, you could better be the Woodstock.
Well, okay,
Just-
like,
just
so
to
that
ensure.
would be a separate question the board would take up. And that would be, I mean, our policy allows that for you to approve it for special events. And so, and I don't know, like, I don't think you have to approve that right now, but if, say, 4 of you are sitting here going, no way, then it maybe be good to let these guys know. But if you're like, oh yeah, we'd probably consider that. Like I say, you don't have to decide right now, then I'd say go ahead and approve it. And I don't want these guys to be unpleasantly
And
surprised.
these are just things like, as long as, I mean, the facility use is not the issue, it's gonna be all the other stuff. So I think just when you get a better idea, we probably should just bring it all kind of as a package. And make sure we approve the little things, like that kind of stuff, make sure insurance is a check and whatever. So, yeah, I don't,
It might not be just a like I said, it could be other things going on up there. It just depends when this band wants to set up. Once they get set up, then we're kind of locked out.
Because you want to still do a motion to approve the facility.
yeah, if you guys want to, we can do a motion to approve the facility use request form for Mountain Top Field. July 2nd and 3rd.
I'd make a motion to approve the city of Lead to use Mountain Top Field on July 2nd through the 5th, 2026. Should I potentially amend that motion to the 6th so that they have tear down time?
It's whatever is on the form. We don't have the forms.
I didn't have any form, it's just I didn't wanna finish filling it out until you guys were done, until
Yeah.
you guys knew what was going on.
I guess the dates need to match what they want. I don't think we set the dates.
Yeah, the date for the concert's pretty much set already.
Pretty
The
sure.
band's already set.
I think it's the 2nd through the 5th on the form, because the concert is the 3rd.
Okay.
So that's one day to set up, one day to tear down.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a motion. We need a second. Somebody needs to second it or not, or it's gonna die for a lack of a second.
I just worry about damage to the field. Yes, I would second, but we'll have to have more discussion to make sure that it's not damage to the field. That's what I'm worried about, is just damage to the field.
But I think
As long as
that's,
we're protected and we don't have damage to the field.
but I think right now you're just doing the facility request.
Yeah, right now it's just a facility request, so I will approve that.
So there is a motion and a second to approve the facility use for Mountain Top Field. All in favor?
Aye.
And then,
I abstain.
thank you.
Well, I'm glad I didn't just sign the form.
I think there's just a big difference between,
Yeah.
five-
Well, yeah, something of
Yeah.
that
It's
scale.
a difference of like thousands
Yeah.
for the
So
grass.
bus usage for South Dakota STE.
Yep, it's a small, it's a tech organization for the state of South Dakota. I'm vice president and we're having a little pre-conference before the TIE conference and we're having a group do some tours of surf and do some things in town and Lead. So we just want transportation for everybody to get back and forth from Deadwood.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the request. All in favor?
Aye.
Carries. All right, we are to the climate survey. This was at the last meeting. I believe Robin had requested that we just kind of take some time to go through this. It's been out there in the public. It was given to all the teachers and at their in-service a few weeks ago. But we just haven't had a chance to go through it. So I think that's,
So just real quick, we did this climate survey in November and we've made the results publicly. We shared with the board what the results were right away in November. And then when I did my district pulse presentation on January 6th, I kind of went through it with the public and with our staff. And then since that time, it's been posted on our website. Now, I will say there was an open-ended question where people are allowed to put comments. And because you know how that goes when people put comments, they're not all positive, and just like with our, public input at the, public forum, we're not gonna allow people to bash employees. And so we're not gonna put negative comments out there for the public to see. What we did with those comments was, as an admin team, we sat in this room and we read through all the 10 people on the admin team got a chance to look at those. We got a chance to talk back and forth, what pertains to our buildings and that kind of thing. And I don't want to paint a picture that there were these overwhelmingly negative comments. I mean, there were just a few. But anyway, a lot of them were really pretty constructive, some good recommendations, that kind of thing. And so as an admin team, we had an opportunity to strategize on how to use that information. Also, I would say, and I kind of mentioned this on January 6th too, and I'll give you guys a chance to kind of go through and talk about each one. I just want to give a little preview here. We were really pleased as we looked at these that the results really seemed pretty overwhelmingly positive. There were just a couple of areas that I wouldn't even say were negative, but just when you kind of peel back the layers a little bit, it was like, okay, these are maybe an area of concern because maybe there was a majority that either agreed or strongly agreed with the comment, but maybe there was a significant number who were either neutral or disagreeing. And so we've kind of talked, and when we get to those items, we can kind of talk about the strategies we have to address those areas of concern. So we'll just go through these one by one, and if anybody has any questions or comments, we can kind of talk about the whole thing as a whole. First few questions were just identifying who the first two questions were identifying who the people were, whether they're certified or classified, support or administration, and which building they work in or if they're district wide. So when we get to number 3, I am happy in my job. The raw numbers, we had 32 strongly agreed, 46 agreed, 14 were neutral, and 3 disagreed. We had 95 respondents to the survey. So when we look at strongly agree and agree, percentage wise, 34 plus 48 is 82% strongly agreed or agreed that they're happy in their job. And that kind of, if you look online at like the Pew Research, just for job satisfaction in general in the United States, it kind of kicks the heck out of that. I'm spoken to and treated respectfully by my supervisor, excuse me. 66 strongly agree, 19 agree. And so that adds up to 69% and 20%. So 79% agreed or strongly agreed while being treated respectfully. 3 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed out of 95 people. Any questions or comments? I'm spoken to and treated respectfully by my peers and colleagues. 37 strongly agreed, 45 agreed, 9 were neutral, 3 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed. So again, 47% and 39%, that would be 86% strongly agreed or agreed. Any questions on that? Okay. I feel supported by my colleagues and peers with whom I work. 37 strongly agreed, 41 agreed, 12 were neutral, 5 disagreed. So that puts that'd be 82% strongly agreed or agreed. I feel that student learning drives decision-making in the school district, excuse me. 24 strongly agreed, 38 agreed, 26 were neutral, 6 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed. So again, pretty strong numbers there on that one. Is there any questions on that? Comments, okay. I feel empowered to make decisions that are best for students. 30 strongly agree, 45 agree, 14 were neutral, 6 disagreed. So again, 79% strongly agreed or agreed. I feel that my school is a safe place for students and staff. I thought this was a pretty good one. 41% strongly agreed, 42 agreed, 10 were neutral, 2 disagreed. So 87% strongly agreed or agreed that this is a safe place for students and staff. I feel heard by my building level administrator. 80% or no, 84% strongly agreed or agreed. So 40 and 40, 9 neutral, 5 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed. I feel that building level administration treats staff fairly. 44 strongly agreed, 38 agreed, 11 were neutral, 1 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed. So again, 86% agreed or strongly agreed. And then I feel like I have an appropriate level of autonomy in my job. 35 strongly agreed, 44 agreed, 11 were neutral, 4 disagreed, 1 strongly disagreed. This one really wasn't surprising to me because you think, most of our people are teachers. And, you think of the level of autonomy that teachers have in their jobs. It's a pretty autonomous job when they go in that classroom and you say, go in that classroom and close the door. They don't always have the doors closed, but yeah, they're really in charge. Pretty high level of autonomy. The survey reflected that. The next 2 items were ones that, as an admin team, we kind of identified as like things that we wanted to dig a little deeper on. Employees in the school district are held accountable appropriately. 9 strongly agreed, 47 agreed, 20 were neutral, 16 disagreed, and 3 strongly disagreed. So again, still pretty positive numbers, but the strongly agree was a little lower percentage, 17%, and the agree was 49%. So we just kind of wanted to look at with the number that were neutral and that disagreed. We kind of wanted to look at why is that? What does that mean? And so we kind of divided this up by building, and the building principals are digging a little deeper on this question in their buildings and put you guys on the spot a little bit. Dan and Jay, do you want to kind of talk about how you're addressing these 2 areas of concern to get to the root of it or find out what people are thinking there?
Sure.
So I addressed it in our staff meeting, a little over a week ago, that these were concerning to us and, that we were gonna dig deeper by the building level. So on Friday during our PD day, I'll have another survey to just my building staff to kind of dig into these, questions a little bit deeper. Leave a little room for some open-ended comments, so they're not stuck between multiple choice, so that we can find out. Cause it's concerning, and I feel like if we can figure out what's causing the neutrals and the disagrees, that we can address those issues. So we're gonna start with that survey, and go from there.
So I went in, our middle school has a team time with the teachers, so I went and met with all the teachers during their team time and gave them some options. One being that they all know that I expressed that I have an open door policy, and I've always said that they can come to me individually with their concerns. If they didn't feel comfortable with that they had the option of sending one of their trusted co-workers, whether that be from the elementary, high school, or wherever, that could come in their stead, and they could still be anonymous and express some of those issues that they may have with those questions. Or if they didn't feel comfortable coming to me, that they could come to another administrator in the district. So I gave them some options to be able to express what they felt, if they were respondents, to those questions, but. So,
And just, speaking a little bit for Mark, he's got, I think, a similar process that he identified in the high school, similar to what Dan talked about, initiating some conversations with people, doing another little survey. And then the last one is, I feel like I'm a valued part of a team. And we had 30 strongly agree, 40 agree. And so those are still strong numbers. So that's 32% plus 47, that's still 79%. But what was a little concerning, when you ask that question, feeling like you're a valued part of a team, like you want to hit almost 100% on that. And so when you have 15% neutral and 6% disagreeing, you want to kind of figure out how we can bring those people into the fold. And one thing about this climate survey, and I guess I have to commend our admin team on this, is I think that we're kind of tackling these things, like it'd be pretty easy to gloss over this and just move on. But I think we've all been pretty open to, finding some things where, hey, if we dig a little deeper, we can find something we can improve on and kind of meeting that head on. So, and it wasn't just the principals, but our whole admin team, 10 of us sat and talked about these things. Try to develop strategies. So what comments or questions do we have from the board on this then?
My only question would be for Jay. Have you had anyone utilize that process that you set up yet?
not yet, and I think, we kind of left that open-ended. I think what Dr. Pearson kind of wanted us to maybe have some answers, or if we had some answers by, this Friday. But no, I haven't had anybody, utilize that process yet, so. Which I don't know if it's good or bad. Maybe I didn't give them the correct options or whatever, but, anyway.
I appreciate that you guys are spending the time and working on this.
Yeah, so I would just like to comment, so I kind of went through this survey and took it as if I were taking it as an employee. And so, like, the high level overview of the whole thing, it is genuinely positive. All of the questions, the answers were more positive than negative. But I feel like the way that the questions are worded, when people are answering it neutral, they're not really agreeing. So a neutral answer could almost be taken as a negative answer. And so if you look at it in that mindset, it gets a little bit more negative. And so that was one thing that I really wanted to look into. I feel like that it's important for the staff to know that they took the time to do this survey, that their feedback is going to be valued, and that we can try to put some solutions out there. It's not just a survey, that there's not anything that actually comes up out of it. We want them to know that their feedback is appreciated and feel empowered to be a part of the solution. And so I appreciate the admin team, coming to the table to try to figure out what we can do. I feel like that there is a little bit of a division within the school. And so what I'm kind of wondering is if the board could be a little bit more involved, and maybe that's a horrible idea. And I am open to if that is a horrible idea. And maybe that would give us a better understanding of things that are going on. We make policy decisions and lots of decisions that affect the teachers that come to school every day. That's their job, that's their passion, and we want them to be happy. And so I guess my opinion is we should really want to do better with these results. So I don't know if it could be just an open staff board meeting, or if it could be 2 board members go to each school district or each building and just sit in on the feedback. Maybe we won't get any feedback. I don't know, but I just thought that I think the survey was a good idea, and it was a little bit kind of like an outside the box idea to get direct feedback. But if we could continue the outside the box idea on how to make changes that is really gonna move everything in a positive direction. Want to get everybody's feedback on that.
Dan?
Yeah, so, and I think that's part of the reason for the follow-up is the survey results were very insightful, but it's hard to discern like which building it might be coming from or which type of employee, if it's classified or certified or, you know, a district-wide employee. So I think that's part of it. And then I know I talked to you, Robin, a little bit too. I'd be more than happy, like, if once I get my survey results, to share that out with the board, you know, if that's something we deem appropriate, but, yeah, I think the more, you know, the more that we can look at this together, I think, we can come up with some good solutions, to try to make things better for the staff in the district.
I'll voice my opinion on it, and Robin and I have visited, I mean, it's fine. I have a pretty strong opinion, it's no different than working for government or, my county commissioners. There's a chain of command. My county commission doesn't come in and talk to me at that level, that's just not what you usually do. I'm always available for people to call and talk to me, just one-on-one. But I don't feel like the school board's position should be talking about. We have our administrators, we hire our administrators, that's what our job is to do, is to hire the administrators. If we have an issue with an administrator, we need to deal with that administrator. And I feel like the staff underneath that administration, they need to deal directly with their staff. That's just my take on it. I'm perfectly comfortable once they have a chance to talk to all of their staff. If they want to come share that with the board, that's fine. And that's the way that it should work. I'm not comfortable as a board member that we should be sitting in on those one-on-one staff meetings. That's just my take on it. It's different. Like, you know, we get emails all the time. We get people that call us all the time. That's perfectly acceptable. I mean, they can keep doing that. And I think any person can contact any of us individually with concerns. That's my view. And we can have different views, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I wouldn't think that it would be like a staff meeting, but maybe it was just a one-time conversation where we just take these survey questions or the new survey questions and just get the direct feedback. Like, okay, if you're, what are the things that are really going well? What's the feedback on that? What are the things that can be improved on so that, if there is distrust or if there is division, the reporting schedule or who you go to, that chain's not working, then things might be broken.
I think we need to give the chain an opportunity to work. And I just feel like that step would be really antithetical to the gavel training that we all sat through with the associated school boards. I mean, it is the exact opposite of what they said a board member's role is. And I think, you know, like this survey, you know, I had the idea to put this survey out there. And now I kind of feel like it's being used as a little bit of a bludgeon, like a gotcha thing. It's like, you know, we're making an honest effort to identify places where we can improve. There's positives here. And I think we've got a process for that. I think we need to give that process a chance. I don't think it would be a good idea. Sorry, Amber. I don't think it'd be a good idea to have the board make it so that the administration is sitting here going, well, I'm never doing another survey because look where that got me.
I think the admin has to do their jobs in each of their buildings. And if you feel that you can't do your job, then you need to go to the superintendent and then same thing. If any other employee feels that their admin isn't getting to what they need to follow their chain of command. And then if you're not getting where you're going, then talk to us. Otherwise, talk to us if you have anything you want to share. That's where I'm at too.
You know, I had this, thought a few days ago, not entirely dissimilar to what Robin is saying. However, I mean, I think that it's, when people want to get a hold of us, they get a hold of us. And I mean, I have had phone calls, emails, letters, people are gonna get a hold of you. I think that my concern with having a board member sit in would be that we're also putting ourselves in a position that we're not gonna be able to necessarily see the big picture. Or we're gonna be in a position where we have to recuse ourselves. When, if something were to end up coming up to the board level. I think the other part of it too is that while I understand the idea that someone may feel better having a board member sitting in on this, you could have another employee that feels completely different and feels, you know, like they can't be honest because of the fact that a board member is present. That's where I think it's more important that we step back and we allow people to reach out to us when they want to on their terms, rather than us forcing the issue.
And it's not our job. It's not what we're, like you said, the gavel training, that isn't, we're not, that's not what we're, our position and our role is.
Okay, so it's not an action item. We did go through the climate survey, which was what the question was. I think everybody got to kind of voice what they were feeling and how they were at, but it was not an action item tonight because we don't usually make it an action item. I think that's kind of where we're at. So review and discuss the 2025-2026 calendar.
Okay, so again, process wise, and I think the calendar was in the packet. We met early January with the calendar committee. The calendar committee consists of teachers from each building, classified staff throughout the district, building principals, and me. And so to start with, I gave two versions of a calendar, and Lexi had brought up a suggestion of combining spring break and Easter break. And so that first meeting, I brought a version of the calendar that had that, and then a version that was really kind of similar to what we had this year. And the committee met, and I guess we've got a few people in the room here up at these tables that were in there. Jay or Dan, would you guys want to kind of speak to how that conversation went, or and just real, like, we had that meeting, people took it back, took the versions back to their buildings, their departments, and then we had another meeting and kind of landed on this. You guys want to maybe highlight what those conversations were as we got some feedback?
Yeah, so, and I think it's gone this way for quite a while. I mean, as long as I've been here, it's kind of been the process, but, you know, it's really, quite open, the committee, to bring in their thoughts and their wishes and their needs from people in their buildings. And, with the caveat of we have between after Lead-Deadwood nights and Memorial Day and everything. And so there's the wants and then there's the reality of where everything needs to sit. But I think the process works out really well as having that committee sit down and Dr. Pearson brings in the initial copy, at least the rough draft, and we all kind of talk about it a little bit, take it back to our staffs. I did it in a staff meeting, gave them some time to look it over, and found that Native American Day was in the wrong spot, you know, so that was a good thing. Just a error there, but then actually making sure that we're being diligent and you know, forthright with making sure that we're using enough days appropriately to educate kids, and then sometimes that it's a balance with what teachers want and what's the most appropriate thing to do. And but I think the process is working really well, and that feedback got back and we changed some things, and I took some suggestions that were from teachers, you know, as far as like went into the day, I can't remember what the date was in December, but like the 20th, I think is a Monday, coming back from Monday for Christmas vacation, before the start of Christmas vacation. And we decided that we could do that differently and make sure that that probably wasn't going to be the most productive use of time, is to come back on a Monday. But anyway, but we fit a day in, so that's kind of, I guess, my take on the whole process, so.
Yeah, we got some specific feedback. That was the 22nd, trying to have staff and students come back on the 22nd of December. Felt a little just some staff. So, and one of the other specific feedbacks we got was trying to build in at least a partial PD day in that first part of the year to do some things that we weren't able to do this year. And maybe, I think we trimmed down a little bit with the PD at the beginning of the year. So that it wasn't quite as
And
overwhelming.
then we added one in September, correct?
Yeah, we added one in September. And then we looked at trying to combine like the Easter break and the spring break. And as a teacher, I can tell you, that would make an awfully big stretch of time with no breaks. Like almost a month and a half, over a month and a half, from mid-February through beginning of April. So that was a little bit. So I think that's part of the reason why we talked about this version. But it was great because I had my building reps reach out to staff in the elementary and get specific feedback, and those are some of the things that we had heard.
And just, and I kind of give this little spiel every year when we talk about calendar, but, by law, the school calendar is not a bargainable item. So like, the administration advises the board sets the calendar, and even like this version I give you, if you guys want to do something different, you have the authority to do that. The board sets the calendar. But with that, we like to get staff input. They've given some great suggestions, but it's like sometimes people get confused on that and they think, well, that should be negotiated, that should be bargained. That's been established in case law that's not the case. And so we do appreciate the input, but at the end of the day, we have to make decisions to make it work. So with that, what do we got?
I am not a fan of having a spring break and then having your Easter break be a couple of weeks later. I mean, you've got a 4-week span where our kids are going to school for 4 days or less in a row. In a 6-week period, they're not going for a full week of school, 5 out of those 6 weeks. I feel like we could do something better with our time that way. I also am looking at it, I mean, I can see from the educator perspective, but I'm looking at it more from the parent perspective of, okay, we have this more strict policy regarding absences from school, which I 100% support. But we also need to recognize that a lot of our families are in a position that they can't leave during the summer months. And so I like the idea of providing a better option for families to be able to do something if they want to during a different time of the year as well. And I mean, frankly, I think it's just disruptive for our kids to have all of these 4-day weeks when we could do something to make even, I mean, I can see the writing on the wall. I'm not getting my full week of, spring break / Easter break, but doing, something where, we can make one of those, longer, shorter, so that, families do get a little bit bigger break with theirs, with their families. Does that make sense? Maybe taking away the 23rd of March and adding that on to Thursday the 2nd or April the 7th. Or, just considering something a little bit different. I get where you guys are coming from, but I also just think that 4 weeks, 4-day weeks in a row is disruptive. And I mean, overall, you're looking at 6 total like that. Or 5 out of 6 weeks in a row being like that. Overall, though, beyond that, I like the rest of the calendar. I love having semester tests in December. One of the things we discussed in our academic and achievement committee meeting a couple of weeks ago was, I wanna see how our finals looked, taking them before Christmas as opposed to a week after getting back. I'd be curious to see what that looks like.
All the kids did.
Exactly, yeah.
That's something we could dig up. You don't have to do it tomorrow, but.
Yeah. I think it's already being worked on
Oh,
through academic achievement and success.
I think today we're just reviewing and discussing it. Does anybody else have anything to add regarding post calendar? No. I don't disagree with you, but I also, if they took the two versions to the teachers and this is the one that, if the group decided this was a better one, then I feel like that's what we have to go with. But I don't, and it always doesn't happen this way. It just happens that it's 2 weeks in a row for Easter and.
Well, part
This is
of,
kind of a weird.
part of that, just as Lexi talks, I'm thinking through what she's saying. And I see that where that, and what exacerbates that is, Easter, that affects 2 weeks. Okay, well, then also we made the decision a couple years ago to do that with our spring break. Where it used to fall in 1 week. And then the reason we split it had to do with parent teacher conferences because we wanted a day off the day following parent teacher conferences. That was something big that the staff said, well, we can't do parent teacher conferences on a Wednesday night. And so like some of those, so we said, oh, okay, let's split it between 2 weeks. So I hear what you're saying, and I think maybe that's something we need to, we've got a couple months to look at it. We'll look at it and see, but, no promises, but I just hadn't thought of it from that perspective. That was kind of the thought process of how that landed 4 weeks in a row like that. So anyway.
We have no recommendation at this meeting, so we don't have to worry about that. Review health office procedures, protocols, and standing orders, and I believe that.
Yep, so we just added it to your packet so you guys can review it. I've worked on getting all of those together over the last 8 months. So
This is basically what you had kind of given us a precursor to before of saying this is what you'd like to add in.
yes, so when we were going through our policies last year and stuff, there was pieces of it. I'm like, that really doesn't belong in a policy. Let's pull that out and put it in a procedure or a protocol. And then standing orders are something that the Board of Nursing requires for nurses that kind of work on their own. And having those signed by a physician that agrees with those is necessary, so. Wanted you guys to be able to see those.
Okay, so we're not approving or disapproving, you're just letting us know that you got them all together.
These these don't need board approval, but for transparency, I thought it'd be good to have it for the public, for you guys to see.
Well, I think it's good just for you to have, like, here's what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. That's good. Okay. Correspondence, there is a thank you in there from Shannon Molman regarding the Christmas party, so that was provided to everybody. Administrator reports is where we're at.
Okay. I'll try and be kind of brief, but part of just don't, you don't have to. It's your nonverbal.
My nonverbal.
I think she rolled her whole upper body.
I don't think we've ever had a meeting that. She did her level. Get my chocolate out, I'm getting that.
I think a lot of people in this room can attest, a lot of my reports have been pretty short, but anyway.
They are getting shorter, yes.
Well, not tonight. Okay, so here's the problem. Here, like legislative report, okay? Like I got 4 pages of spreadsheets. I'm not gonna go through all these bills. But I'm gonna hit a few of the highlights. And I don't know, I may offer some opinions on some of this, but I don't want to make everybody angry. Some people angry, whatever, but like, I'll just start going through. On the Senate side, I just have a couple. Senate Bill 51, I think passed the Senate, and that was the one requiring the display an inclusion of 10 commandments. And that got defeated in the House, like on the House side. So that is kind of, we don't need to debate that or give our opinions on it because it didn't pass. Senate Bill 71, I thought was interesting. And I think that one is still alive, maybe on the House side. Revised provisions pertaining to the compulsory age for school attendance. Lowering that, I guess I will give a little bit of an opinion. Personally, I mean, it's conflicting because I think that we should, we want the kids here. We want a shot at trying to educate them. But the reality, we just have some kids that are determined to drop out, and some of them are using homeschooling to drop out. We've kind of talked about that. And so, we're fighting this fight to keep them here till 18, and there's, I don't know, I think lowering that age at which they can drop out, I don't think it's gonna lead to a rash of dropouts. I think they're finding ways to do that anyway. And I think it's more about if that family and that student values education, they're gonna stay. Anyway, so that one is kind of one we're still watching. And if any of you have questions about specific bills, I can try and find them on the spreadsheet. We can touch on them, but House Bill 1002 to require that all certified educators take a course in South Dakota Indian Studies. I didn't read the text of the bill. I don't really know what that's about, because to be certified, we all have to take South Dakota Indian Studies. So I don't know what the change is. So I don't know. Anyway, House Bill 1009. Provide for creation and use of South Dakota Education Empowerment Accounts and provide a penalty therefore. That's about one of the voucher bills. I was surprised to see that was sent to the 41st day. So that one's dead for now, but that could be resurrected. House Bill 1020, another bill to establish education savings account or vouchers. That one also was sent to the 41st day. House Bill 1040, reduce the state's contribution to a subsidized high school dual credit program. That one is a little bit concerning, and I understand, money's tight and revenues are down at the state level. But that one, like if you end up going to a Cracker Barrel and, might think about giving some input on that. Our dual credit program, we have a lot of kids take advantage of that. And that would knock down, like right now, it's really pretty cheap for those kids. I think it's like $40 a credit or something like that. What's that?
20 minutes, right?
1040. So it's gonna essentially, I think the kids right now pay like a third of state tuition for those credits, and that's gonna knock it down to or put their share up to a half. So House Bill 1105 require the display of the state motto in public school classrooms. Under God, under God the people rule is the state motto. And so that one looks like that one got failed in the House. So that one seems to be dead for now too. House Bill 1185. There's a hearing scheduled for February 12th. That's tomorrow. Provide that public monies for education may not be used for lobbying purposes. I guess that sounds pretty good, but I don't tell you right now, we do spend public money for lobbying in our school district because we're members of an association that, and I don't know, I just think, people might have a lot of different opinions on this. I just think we want to think about it before we outlaw that practice, because there are some lobbying efforts that are done as advocacy for students and for the well-being of school districts. And if we can't use tax dollars for that, what dollars could we use? That's all we have. I mean, that's what we are. So, House Bill 1201, establish requirements for school counseling services. And we do have still a counselor in the room here, and I guess might be breaking protocol, but if she wants to comment on this, I might let her do that as well. But first, this is one of those, like, I can see both sides of this. I can see, like, as a parent where, there are some big things that kids are dealing with. And it's a little scary as a parent, a little concerning that somebody can at school talk to your kid about anything and you are completely in the dark. I get that. I'm giving my opinion here. I get why that's concerning to people. But also, when I look at all the things, when we talked about school counselors week and appreciating those people, I look at all that the school counselors do. And I really would find it hard for them to do their jobs effectively if this bill passed the way it is. I think it would really hamstring. There are so many times when that counselor has to be kind of that first person that is dealing with a kid in crisis. There are just so many things that, and on a daily basis, when Yolanda wakes up in the morning, she doesn't know what she's going to face in the school day. And the way this bill is written, it would really tie her hands to deal with any of the things that come up throughout the day. And I get it. People are afraid that we're indoctrinating kids here in our school. And I think that for the most part, that fear of indoctrination, my opinion is that's coming from other places. That's not necessarily a South Dakota problem. We have a lot of trust in our counselors and the job they do. And I guess I haven't seen any indoctrination. So I have some real problems with that bill. I'm giving my opinion. Yolanda, do you want to speak to how that would affect your job? And you don't have to speak if you don't want to. I'm giving.
The original bill would have tied my hands. If any student came in my office at any new topic that would have come up, I would have to call home and ask permission first. The bill has changed to the effect of basically focusing on the LGBTQ community a lot. The bill completely goes against any ethics I have anyway, so the bill's not even necessary, in my opinion. Because in my professional ethics, I'm going to involve a parent if it's a big deal. If it's out of my locus of expertise, I'm going to find somebody else that has the expertise to do it. And so, for instance, if somebody comes in my office and they have some gender issues, let's just say, and we start talking, my first question to them is going to be, have you talked to your parents? That's just gonna be my first question. If they say no, my job is then to encourage them to do that. That might take a couple sessions though. According to the bill, I would have to call right away. And so, treating the whole child and making sure they trust you to tell you those things requires a couple visits, and that's just the way it is. And so, I would then encourage that student to tell their parents. I would probably role play some stuff with that child so that they are comfortable telling their parents. I would offer probably to sit with them to tell their parents. So anything that's of that nature, I'm gonna involve parents anyway. That's our ethics. That's what we do. And so, I think the bill's unnecessary altogether, to be honest.
Yeah, these are just prickly issues. There are a lot of tentacles to it, and I can see it as a parent, I can see it as an educator, but the other thing, like, I can't wrap my head around, a home where a kid sometimes kids are afraid of their parents, yeah, but like, where a kid just can't talk to their parents, and I don't think we have anybody trying to, like, hey, have you thought about being transgender? Like, let's explore that. I just don't see that happening. But maybe I'm just naive. I don't know.
And the bill is written, includes all staff though. It's not, there's school council language in it, but it does talk about like all staff having those conversations.
And I think the debate brings up kind of a good point and I'm not trying to make this longer, but I think it's important for us as schools and as administrators to share with all of our people, what is appropriate for us to talk about. We're here to teach a curriculum. And yeah, we want to be here for kids and we want to be somebody sometimes that they can confide in, but like sometimes you can get really out of your wheelhouse pretty fast with kids wanting to confide in a teacher that, and that really puts the teacher in a bad spot. And I think that our counselors are a pretty good resource, that if a kid comes to me and talking to me about something that I'm unqualified to talk with them about, yeah, I can listen for a few seconds, but then I'm like, yeah, I think you need to go see this person. And anyway,
That was a conversation we had about policy, if you, I guess, ago, about what's right in the policy.
Okay, House Bill 1229, this could affect our school district big time, and I don't know what the full ramifications would be. But provide an exemption from certain property taxation for owner occupied single family dwellings and to limit taxes due on property over the previous year. So I think this is the bill that is Randy Divert's bill that will zero out owner occupied property taxes for the school district. Now, where we have a little, I think we would lose some revenue with that. Where we have a little bit of wiggle room maybe is we have some room to make up some of that in the other tax categories. Because we don't levy the max across the board. I'm not saying it would be a complete wash, but this one is one to watch, and it's kind of concerning. And when he sat in that room over there, he didn't have an answer. He said, yeah, we haven't quite figured out what to do about Lead-Deadwood. Well, I think he still hasn't. And I think we need to press on that a little bit.
And we need to keep in mind, if you read it, it's $100,000. Owner occupied. There's a threshold and there's not, if your house is worth 500,000, they're not saying 500,000.
Right, okay.
It's $100,000 of the full and true value of each owner occupied single family dwelling.
So you get a tax break up to your
To
100,000
the first 100,000.
valuation. Okay.
So you just need, because I've heard that from a couple, well, geez, if you have a $500,000 house, that's a big difference. Well, this is limiting it at the first 100,000. So it's kind of different on how it's written, but you have to read, there's like 3 parts to it. I mean, it's not.
Sure.
Is that the one that also includes additional sales tax at the state level to offset?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe we should ask Randy if he would
Well, I
meet
think,
with us.
I think this was gonna come up at Saturday at the Cracker Barrel speak. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Saturday at the Cracker Barrel.
But it might be good for Randy just to kind of break it down a little bit, because like the other question is, okay, if they give you a tax break on your owner occupied, but they raise the sales tax, how do those entities that get that tax, you know, the school, the city, the fire district, all these other districts, how do they make that revenue up? So if you're paying more in sales tax, is the state gonna reimburse all those entities that are losing the revenue?
Yeah, they'll put that into the funding formula. Here's the problem. We're not in the funding.
We're not in the funding program.
So that's a very pertinent question,
Yep.
Robin, that, we're just kind of left out in the cold. It's, you know, people can get behind this bill because for the majority, vast majority, except for just a small handful of schools in the state, it's revenue neutral. It's not gonna hurt
It's
them
not
at
gonna
all.
hurt them.
But it's gonna hurt us because they're not gonna make up what we lose above the state aid formula.
Remind me, what did we take for our mill levy this year? I wanna say 3.137.
So that's like, say, 0.2, depending on what it is. You're talking just owner occupied.
They vary by category.
Okay.
So you got non-ag
I'll
other.
fire my computer.
Well, I mean, I did my math wrong anyway, so
Doesn't matter.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I think it is something though we need to watch, and if anybody's going to the Cracker Barrel on Saturday, do we have to not have a present for those?
Okay, you could go
Just
to,
curious.
no,
Yeah.
you could have a quorum of board members at the Cracker Barrel. Don't sit
Don't
together,
sit Together, okay.
like before and after or during the break. Don't mill about together, just stay away from each other.
And it's this Saturday and.
Is that it? Is that the one?
And then the next one's like March
No,
2nd,
Spearfish is this Saturday,
and then Deadwood's like the 2nd.
and yeah, the March 1st or 2nd, that's Saturday. It's
That's pretty
different.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's different. So this coming Saturday is Spearfish, and they'll all be there. 10 10 a.m., I think.
It might be good to talk with Brady, just to have a more intimate conversation and really ask them, maybe they would be open to including wording to offer a revenue source for districts that are outside the
Well,
formula.
we did ask him that when he was here.
I think they're a little bit further in that process.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, I just have two more things real quick. See, I told you the legislative thing take a while. Okay, as you know, like we've got some retirements and we got a lot of teaching positions coming up. And, so we've got 2 job fairs scheduled, one in Spearfish at Black Hill State, another one in Sioux Falls at the convention center. So I think Jay and Mark are going to the Black Hills one, right? Or maybe all 3 of you guys are going to Black Hills.
Yeah.
And I might stop by here or there. That's on the 25th of this month. On the 20th, Dan and I are gonna head over to Sioux Falls and go to the one at the Ramcota there. So see what we drum up there. And then kind of a neat thing, working with Oliver Renner, he had an idea to kind of do a project, for recognition for middle school students, whether it be academics, athletics, some different things. And it kind of stems from, also honoring his son who, passed away, Cash, a couple of years ago. But he kind of wanted, I really liked this idea. His approach was, I don't want to do something just all about Cash. He wants to honor Cash, but then also he said, I think it'd be kind of nice to do something, to increase recognition for our middle school kids kind of across the board. And so the idea he had was to set something up, kind of a display by Gym 2. And so we've got a committee put together with Jay and Zach and Bill, and there's gonna be another middle school teacher on it, right, Jay?
Yeah, Darren LaCroix.
Darren LaCroix, and then Oliver will sit on that as well. And Jay is setting up a meeting here in the next couple of weeks. So that'll be kind of a neat thing, to see that's gonna be showing up there outside of Gym 2. And I think, Bill, that'll probably be before the end of the school year, we'll see something up there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it was kind of a neat idea, and appreciate Oliver, bringing that to us. So that's all I have for a report.
Okay.
So.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I would just like to mention that with House Bills 1009 and 1020, I listened into a lot on that, and pretty much the only reason they moved it to the 41st day from what I got out of it is funding. They're trying to cut money from the budget this year, but it sure sounds like it'll be back next year.
So we live to fight another day.
Okay, food service.
All right, so in looking at the food service budget this year, we're in great shape. Food service budget, the federal dollars, the entitlement money, I'm using more efficiently and starting to build menus around our federal dollars. Some of those new recipes are hit and miss with kids, depending on if you're at the elementary or the high school or middle school. Our kitchen equipment is functioning well. Our new ovens that were installed here at the high school, we had a trainer come up in, excuse me, December and do training. Everything's working properly in the way it's supposed to be working, other than we have a fussy walk-in refrigerator up here. So it's losing some coolant somewhere. Mystery. So we're getting an estimate to see what it's going to take to replace some parts rather than keep pumping it full of coolant. So I'll have that estimate hopefully by next board meeting, but things are back. It's February. Hard to find produce in the United States right now, but strawberries are coming out of the greenhouse. They're beautiful. I know I get all these emails. There's a freeze in Phoenix that took care of some lettuce for us, but things are on track. So.
You?
Yeah.
Mr. Snow?
So this is gonna be pretty short. Over Christmas break, I had some of that safety glass installed down in Deadwood. So that whole foyer area is all covered in that safety glass. Also had the weight room painted. So it's painted and cleaned. And then I thought I'd give you an update on the electrical for this building. We're still waiting on getting parts in. Should be here next month We're gonna be doing the RFP this week and putting that out for bid soon, so.
Okay.
We should be good to go. Sometime over the summer, we'd like to have that done, and it's gonna knock the power out of this building for about a week.
Margie, your turn.
So, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with ESSER. We got a significant amount of funding with ESSER 1, 2, and 3, so I just thought I would share some of the expenditures that we spent the money on. Between all three of them, the total that we received is about $2.8 million. So I'll start with ESSER 1, and what ESSER stands for is the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief, and it's as a result of COVID-19. And the descriptions that I'm going to say, we had to list an allowable expense, and then we had to justify that the description or what we were buying is repairing, preventing, or responding to COVID-19. So in ESSER 1, we had 2 paraprofessional salary and benefits at the elementary, and that was $16,763. We also had summer school salary and benefits of $3,727. And then we had food service salary and benefits of $38,968. That's when we were going grab and go meals.
Yeah.
And then the school psychologist training in Vermillion and the special ed fund was $1,133. We also had singing mass for choir, 402. And then we had documentaries at the middle school, self-regulate and reduce bullying. That was $3,666. Middle school curriculum, $20,837. Elementary Chromebooks with license, $15,400. Middle school computers with warranty, $11,800. Plexiglass, $15,567. Tables at the elementary and the middle school, $7,896. And then we got some check-in, check-out license for the student monitor progress, $642. Active panels, $9,745. Microsoft licenses, $6,079. Land school license, $2,587. Reading Plus license, $975. Spark license, $595, and then room sterilizer lights, $505. So we received $157,286 in ESSER 1. So of that, $95,373 was general fund, $21,812 was capital outlay, $1,133 special ed, and $38,968 was food service. So then in ESSER 2, we received $818,463. The expenditures were teammates' salary and benefits, conference in Lincoln, Nebraska, and board games. That was $6,477. PBIS salary, benefits and license and supplies was $7,144. And then in capital outlay, the PBIS license was $3,932. Completed coursework for salary and benefits and license. That's when the teachers would complete a course and then they get $500 for it. And then, so the salary and benefits was $85,238 to the teachers. And then $19,002 was for the license for the platform. And then we did the assistant 612 principal AD salary and benefits for fiscal year 22 and 23. That was $217,670. More interactive boards, $60,323. And then to install the boards was $600. And staff computers, $12,694. The school psychologist convention in Boston was $5,549. We leveled the elementary auditorium floor at the elementary for $51,785. Middle school curriculum, $15,960.
And then we got flu shots for the students for FY 22, 23, and 24. The total was 7,184. Microsoft license, 6,055. Biomass license, 3,140. And then the Apex Credit Recovery Online Learning, 8,725. And then we did 2 district servers plus the network attached servers, 21,271. Route bus was 105,889. We did an activity bus for 179,825. So of that 818,463, 323, 713 was general fund. Capital outlay was 489,201, and special ed 549. And then we have ESSER 3 learning loss. That total was 617,630. And at the elementary, we did a ELA and a math interventionist salary and benefits for 2 years. That was 250,936. At the middle, we did a social studies teacher salary and benefits for 2 years, and that was 121,040. After school tutor summer school salary and benefits was 17,036. And then new course development stipend to the teachers at the high school, that was 13,518. And then there was also curriculum for the new coursework, and that was 35,265. And then the Dial membership credit and recovery was 765 and 2,835. And then the district school psychologist intern for 1 year, that was 40,440 that we contracted with Black Special Services. And then district-wide curriculum, 6,370 in general fund and 127,221 in capital outlay. And then indirect cost was in the general fund of 1,704. So the total in learning loss ESSER 3 was $617,630. Last is our ESSER 3 general, and our allocation for that was 1,220,522. We did the STEM coach salary and benefits and supplies at the elementary last year for 90,624. And then Project Lead the Way salary, benefits, and training supplies was 15,557. And then the student shots for this fiscal year was 2,260. And then the assistant 612 principal AD for FY 24 was 118,437. Interactive boards 17,744. Install the boards 10,200. Credit recovery, 9,715. Computers at the middle school, 139,015. And then 15 Samsung tablets, 3,677. Chromebooks at the elementary, 55,730. And then 2 portable PA systems, 1,746. The meeting owl that Jamie's using, 1,199. Furniture in the library, 1,600. And then online registration for Infinite Campus was 15,000. Security cameras and license was 44,903. 3 viewing stations, 4,101. Vacuums, 2,950. And then the HVAC system at the elementary for phase 3 was 645,646. We did floor scrubbers for 26,826, and cafeteria tables at the high school for 13,877.
Well, thank you for that list.
You're welcome. And as far as the upcoming budget, we're gathering information for the budget, and at the May board meeting, I'll do the proposed budget. I usually get evaluations from the assessor's office, second week in May. And then July, we will adopt the budget. March 26th, we get the renewal rates for our health premiums. The audit FY 24 audit Bruce has finished it. He's sending it off to get it approved. So either March or April, when that's done, he'll be to the board to present. I think it went well. That's all I have.
That's where we're at. So we have public forum, we do have the new form, and I don't believe anybody filled it out tonight, so don't have to worry about that, unless there's anything, but we don't have anything. And then we are going to go into executive session for personnel, according to 125-2-1.